what they get now.
On.
Morning.
Yeah, all those in there. Stand up today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Well, they got capable either one out or cut. So.
You have a new line now. Well,
Upside down, well,
instead of a blue, green.
that's what they did. Was it yesterday? No. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Morning, everybody. This is a regular meeting, Board of Navigation and Canal Commissioners, Lee County Navigation District. Wednesday, September the 10th, 9 a.m., 400 West Hidalgo, Suite 200, Raymondville. Public notice is given that the commission may go into an executive session at any time during the meeting to discuss matters listed on the agenda when authorized to do so by provisions of section 418.183 or chapter 551 of Texas Government Code. In the event commission elects to go into an executive session regarding any other agenda item, the presiding officer will publicly announce the section or sections of the Texas Governmental Code authorizing the executive session. First item is review and consideration of previous meeting minutes. And there's two sets. Two meetings.
I move that we accept the minutes for both meetings as presented.
Motion made by Commissioner Trevino,
First meeting, okay. So
I'll second both, yeah.
second by Commissioner Reyes. Favor?
Yeah.
All opposed? Motion carried. Public comment? Ms. Brown?
Thank you, Eric, for allowing public comment without stopping people who wish to address the board. Some people in the past have been escorted out when they did. Fairly sure that you all know that I'm Mark Brown's wife, Bonnie, and I want to address WCND's taking 13 months, actually 4 years, to clear Mark's name and clear in Mansfield Point in a more timely manner. Mark has certainly offered multiple times over the past year for you to see his personal records. What happened at the last meeting, even Ron's leaving Mansfield Point off the agenda as Mark had requested during the previous meeting, should have been done months ago. A bit of history: Mark grew up spending most of his spare time at Port Mansfield, 73 years. His parents bought a house out there on a flatbed trailer in 48. Since he was born a few years later, it became his paradise, which is why he ran for and won election to the WCND 4 times. It's also why he chose to spend a lot of time, sweat, and hard-earned money to develop Mansfield Point, working by himself for almost 2 years to get permits from the Corps of Engineers, deal with grass studies, seawall construction, paying to have the Loran Tower moved, the only time an individual has done that in Corps history, and a lot of infrastructure, among other requirements. Then selling the leases to those 12 lots, which took almost 2 years before Spencer Gailey came alongside to invest in the project. The outcome is that from 1950 until 2004, the property where Mansfield Point is now located generated $0 in lease fees, $0 in boat stall lease fees, $0 in ad valorem taxes. Currently, it generates more than $1.8 million annually, with over $750,000 going to WCND alone over the past 16 years. In those 16 years, we've all contributed over $2 million to the local economy. In fact, we've all paid at least twice for the construction of those boat stalls with our lease fees. In the past year, you have not acknowledged any of that, choosing instead to allow Ron Mills and one of your board members to publicly assassinate Mark's character as if he had stolen that property. And 2 of you pointed your finger at him for not doing every single part of it with integrity and complete and total honesty and transparency with which he does everything. It's the reason He had a successful business and has had a stellar reputation here for 73 years. Instead of being accepted, you took an us and them approach as if we're the bad guys for doing what no one else thought to do or was willing to finance. What do you know about owning and running a business? Only one board member that I'm aware of knows about owning and running a business from experience. Your lack of that specialized knowledge is often on display here. Mark has it and he's used it very well. Ron knows that Mark was on the WCND board that hired him. In fact, Mark was on the board with the previous 3 court directors as well and had an excellent relationship with all of one except prior to Ron. With David Mayfield, whom Mark almost single-handedly investigated and later proved had embezzled over $100,000 from the navigation district, in which he paid back over time in lieu of going to prison. Frank Vasquez will vouch for this. Then Ron started out working with Mark and the board till Ron sometimes refused to do what he was hired to do, thinking that he knew more about it than Mark and the board at the time. When Mark took issue and tried holding Ron accountable on several occasions, Ron began his personal vendetta against Mark, and it continues today. It appeared then, and it appears now, that he doesn't want anyone else telling him what he needs to do in his job. Whether it's pride, arrogance, or something else, Ron couldn't or wouldn't admit that the board had authority over him. Almost a year ago, Ron composed a letter that Stacy then published on Facebook, attempting to incriminate and smear Mark's good name in the community and saying outright that he had stolen the property at Mansfield Point and had not paid what he owed for it. She even involved others in her smear campaign while Mark was running a clean campaign for election to the board. And by the way, Lefty, even though you were Mark's opponent, you didn't do any of that, at least not that we were aware. So we appreciate your running a clean campaign. You see, Ron didn't want Mark back on the board because he knew that Mark would have held him accountable again for expenditures, decisions such as NAS, being responsible to the board. And he certainly wouldn't have okayed Ron's getting a regular paycheck while he ran for Congress and missed months of work while he campaigned. Although it was clearly a conflict of interest and Ron should have resigned his job to run, he didn't. But that's on the board that allowed it. It wasn't professional, nor was it ethical. All of this to say that although Ron and Stacy owe Mark a sincere apology, both personally and publicly, that would require integrity and humility. So I don't expect either of you to humble yourselves and to acknowledge that you were completely unethical and unprofessional in allowing that slander to be published and those lies about Mark to be perpetrated. I have known Stacy's family since she was in 4th grade, and I know that her parents taught her differently. What would any of you have done if somebody had come after your spouse like that? You don't think that way, do you? So regarding your approval to hire Border Affairs to assist with WNC&D's image problem, yes. The navigation district indeed has an image problem, but no amount of money, even $78,000, is going to repair the type of damage that has been done by the board of the previous 4 years. And incidentally, I'm not referring to what Eric and Steve have been trying to do, which is to attempt to right some of those wrongs. I want to remind all of you, including and especially those of you who call yourselves good Catholics or good Protestants, that waging personal attacks on someone without allowing them to provide evidence of their innocence is not what any court of law would do, and certainly not what Jesus would do. Our son said in November that Mark dodged a bullet by losing the election by 34 votes. And do you know what? I completely agree. Thank you.
Holly, Kojak.
Well, I swear that Bonnie and I didn't get together. However, I do once again want to thank the BOD for what they do. Volunteering as elected public officials to oversee the Willacy County Navigation District. Now, I recently went on to the Willacy County Navigation District website and watched a special meeting that was held on August the 20th. I suggest that everyone in Port Mansfield watches this and ask yourself, what is going on? I want to let the commissioners know that we've tried talking nicely, but you're not listening. So here's the deal. Willacy County Navigation District Board has admitted that a major breakdown in its oversight of Port Mansfield Harbor is forcing the Board of Commissioners to sell off prime commercial real estate on the West Harborfront to finance cost overruns on the queuing yard and the bypass highway, neither of which has any customers. Mr. Mills reported to the board that one, and I'm going to emphasize one investor has offered $500,000 in cash for prime Harborfront land. It appears Ron Mills and the board of directors have put us in the hole again. You can see the board's repeating disasters like North American Standards. They skip out on payments, border affairs, they pocket funds for zilch. It shows they're not working for the citizens of Port Mansfield or the taxpayers in the rest of the district. They're chasing flashy barge ports to justify Ron Mills' paycheck and their position on the board. How are they serving Port Mansfield citizens? They botch project after project. North American Standards, Border Affairs, and now this project Seawall. This is exactly how Port Mansfield prime real estate is surrendered and swindled, not to the highest bidder or the best company, but someone, and I'm talking one person, walks in, plops down $500,000 cash in Ron Mills' office, and Willacy County Navigation District takes the money and runs. Are you too proud to talk or too incompetent to halt a project basically tanking? Now we're looking at $2 million extra just because you guys didn't want to stop phase 2 in time. Materials are in, and we can't back out, right? Which is what Ronald Mills wanted in the first place. If you want us to believe that the container port barge is halted, think again. We know the plans that you guys have for Port Mansfield. We know the plans you have for our town. You will never stop trying to turn us into a container barge port. We know this project is not viable. It's just a pipe dream of jobs that do not exist and never will. The board has shown that it cannot manage details because Ron Mills refuses to keep the stakeholders, the board, the district in the loop. There's no clear vision. There are no defining goals. There are no timelines, and funding seems to get lost overnight. There are no buffers. So when the money runs out, you have no contingency plan. You seem to lack passion and resilience for this task. So when things get messy, you start throwing each other under the bus, and you obviously don't trust your team's expertise. As a businesswoman who has drilled into details of UPS operations all over the world, I am certain that a municipality can do it better and cheaper, that we can run it smarter by ourselves, by keeping money local and land local, instead of bleeding out to outsiders who want to take advantage of Port Mansfield at our expense. And if the board of directors is going to going on a selling spree, just want to let you guys know you're legally bound to tell investors that land use control will change in incorporation, and the investors need to be aware of that. Thank you.
All right, next item, introductions and comments by the Director of TxDOT Maritime Division. Morning.
Commissioners, my name is Garrett Calhagan. I'm the Director for the Maritime Division at the Texas Department of Transportation. And I just wanted to come down here and speak to you on behalf of the grants that have been provided by the Department of Transportation on the work that is presently ongoing. I know that you are aware of this, but the Texas Transportation Commission authorized this grant for the project as a whole, and we really appreciate your continued commitment to that because there were some concerns that should it not fulfill in whole in entirety, that the grant money would be pulled back. So we're here to say that we look forward to continually working with you and making sure that this project is a success. think one of the things that we've seen now with the present administration is a very strong focus on maritime assets. I've had the pleasure of speaking to Secretary Duffy on numerous occasions, and they're looking towards Texas to be really a leader in reviving both shipbuilding and short sea shipping and container on barge as well. So again, just here to emphasize the appreciation of the working relationship and the importance of the continuation of the project as was approved by the Texas Transportation Commission. And happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
I have a question. First of all, TxDOT, whether it's maritime or even the other departments, have been very helpful for us to develop the infrastructure at Port Mansfield. So the question is, in terms of TxDOT and the department and their focus, including maritime, what is, I guess, what's the impetus? What's the interest? What do you see in the value of Port Mansfield that we're getting these grant opportunities, which we highly welcome? I mean, just what is it about Port Mansfield that you see, that you all see?
Yeah, so I think what we did, we tried to be a little bit as a Department of Transportation agnostic in the way that these projects are graded and scored. So for this last go around, we had people from several of the leading universities in the state of Texas representing departments of economics, global supply chain, logistics, and so forth. And they scored the projects and they determined where they see the value that could be coming forth. We also realized that with the present administration's focus on this, you know, we want to be ahead of the curve. We're competing against other states along the Gulf Coast. And so these were independent university leaders. And I'm not talking about grad students. These are the people that run the departments across the state. We had folks from West Texas as well, representing the energy sector, Lamar University for port management. So really quite a high-tiered group. And what we're trying to do is to emphasize where the potential future growth is. From TxDOT's position outside of the maritime, we're also looking at how we can remove traffic from the roadways and put it on the water where it's more efficient and safer as well. So we're in the process of developing a short sea shipping or a container on barge type operation. We were very successful in negotiating with the Department of Transportation in Washington and MIRAD to also include non-containerized barges. So this could be bulk commodities, this could be aggregates, this could be liquids, this could be all kinds of molecules. And we see nothing but expanded growth for the refineries and the facilities along the coast. And we need to make sure that that supply chain to keep them running is up to par. And there's also opportunities for military movements as well. I think this new administration has proven that they're looking for Texas to be the tip of the spear, both on projecting energy independence and hard and soft diplomacy, should that be needed. We need the port system to be functioning as a system. So that's where we see the value, or take the recommendations of those that have graded these projects.
Thank you, sir. Another question is, it may sound like the same question I asked, but it has a twist to it. And the twist is, what is your understanding of the Willacy County Navigation District and its purpose, as the department understands it?
So I would put me on the spot here, but I would say that it is promoting, job creation and economic development to help sustain and benefit from the land that you have the responsibility to manage.
Thank you, sir.
In short.
And I've got a question too. How did this individuals, or how many ports applied for this grant? And traditionally, is Port Mansfield like a diamond in the rough, or because I've heard both positive and negative. So
The answer that I'm willing to say there is it depends on the leadership of the port, right? If there's leadership that has a vision and wants to pursue that vision, then yeah, it can be considered a diamond in the rough. I think that what we look at as well, and we get a lot of pushback from, say, Corpus and from Houston, as they feel that they're the You know, they're the ones creating the most amount of economic value, so they should be entitled to all the monies that come in from the state. We've taken a different approach and we've looked at how much does the needle move in each community and what is the benefit of the investment. You can create 500 jobs in Houston, and that's like between 1:30 and 2 on a Wednesday afternoon. You create 500 jobs here, you've moved the needle. So that's what we're trying to incorporate. So it's not a, you know, not a blanket. It's not apples to apples. It's taking the individuality of the ports and the capabilities of the leadership to execute on the grants that are given.
We have currently, we're doing the bulkhead project and phase 2 is the other aspect. What could you tell us about where we are and how's that looking?
As far as the,
As far as the current project that we have with you?
well, I think, was that? I think it's ongoing.
Okay.
I don't think it's without its challenges, but we've been working pretty closely with Director Mills to you know, to resolve any issues as they come up. As far as the specifics of where they are, I'll let introduce Chris Knoll. She runs the port development program.
Okay.
Hey everyone,
Morning.
Chris Knoll, the Port Development Administrator for Texas Maritime Division. Currently the project, I believe the project length was set to 480 days. We had notice to proceed in March of 2025, so just a few months ago. And we're currently at 36% on time and 40% on budget, which is pretty good for a burn down rate for a project. Honestly, Russell Marine has been kicking booty and staying really good on their schedule, and
Yeah, they've put us into a cash flow because they're moving quite fast. But that's a
actually,
good
I
thing.
mean, they're staying on the schedule that they initially provided, but they're doing great.
Yeah. What can you tell us about phase 2 and just how is that gonna look in terms of the second part to this project?
They're referring to the fact of whether we stopped at the end of the first yard and went to the second, or continuing to the whole yard.
So honestly, if it would have come to a point where we would have had to put a stop to the second phase of the project due to the material on hand that we had paid for already, that the port had paid for already, and we had reimbursed, that would have put us in a position where we would have had to have requested money back. So it would have, it would have been financially, I think, detrimental to the port to have to pay back those grant funds to us.
Was it ever discussed that there was gonna be two projects, two separate projects, or the first one and then start the second one, or was it all just one full project at one time?
So there was a schedule for both bulkheads. Originally, when the project was funded, it was funded as a complete project. We do allow phasing in these larger projects.
Mhm.
And so some of it was, I think, due to the environmental permitting that was required from the Army Corps, that we went on ahead and decided to go ahead and have phases, but they were being let together. So they're still just one project.
Mhm.
We didn't understand that in the beginning. We thought the way it was brought to us is that we were gonna bid it in 2 phases. And once we got through with phase 1, if we had the funds to complete phase 2, then we were gonna go to it, but we found out later we couldn't do that.
No, so exactly. So the project as it was presented to our commission was the project that we required to be built. And the project, I think, as it was submitted originally through our port mission plan was one full project.
So as far as y'all were concerned, it was just one project, one price, and that was it. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
Has there been any movement on being able to reimburse the district in a timely manner? I know we've been pushed out.
Cash flow.
Not Houston, we can't write a check for $100 million.
No, I completely understand. So I think that there is a miscommunication on reasons why our invoicing is being rejected. There are immaterial things that are associated with it, but the reason for us to reject an invoice is based on material things. I think the most recent one was rejected due to we have forms for material on hand and we reimburse upfront for materials that are purchased that are usually like long lead project items. And there's a requirement to maintain those inventories accurately. And if they're not being maintained properly, we can't accept them. And that's a material issue that we cannot accept if those types of numbers are wrong or if the invoicing doesn't add up. And the invoicing with the material on hand was not adding up. And so those are the types of issues that we actually reject on.
So in your opinion, where did the finger get pointed? Is it at us not going out counting pies, or is it engineering people we have on there not doing what they should do? I mean, we need to understand that we can have a conversation about this.
I'm not a finger pointer, but I do think that there is maybe an opportunity to focus on when Russell sends in their invoicing to make sure that they're going through and adding up what the items were that were done, that were installed, and making sure that that matches with the material on hand documentation.
Being able to verify what they're submitting, in other
Yes.
words.
And a follow-up on that process is that checking does that rest on our responsibility? Okay. So we need to strengthen that aspect of it to make sure that we dot the I and cross the T on the inventory so that there's no holdbacks or rejections, so we can have a quick turnaround on payment.
Yes.
Question, and this is more of a something to consider. Is there any chance that that 10% match can be reduced? Or our share, is there any opportunities for that?
So,
Yeah.
unfortunately not. The way the program is set up is we actually don't even like to use the word match because we're honestly a reimbursement grant program. We
Right.
don't operate on a we'll only pay 70% or 80% of whatever you're submitting this month. We'll pay 100% of what you submit every month until the money is gone. And so
Okay,
it's really, we are granting you this, I think, I don't remember how much it was, maybe like $8 million for this program
Yeah,
or for this project. And so that was a hard number. We don't have any money. We wish we had more money. We were really hoping to get another 250 million this legislative session and nothing. So,
okay. So that I understand correctly, if the project costs $100, you'll fund the $100, but if there's some cost overruns, $110, then we pay the $10? Is that what you're saying?
yes, sir.
So there's really no 10% match per se.
I'll jump in here. The Port Authority Advisory Committee, who makes its recommendations to TxDOT, is the one that instituted the matching funds for this conversation.
Okay.
And the intent on that is that we don't want to be seen as subsidizing something that the port would not be able to do on its own. We're here to assist and to make the funds of the port go farther so we can continue this growth, in perpetuity. But all the other ports, we have some ports that are providing 50%. Some are even providing 70% on small projects. So that is just, everybody's got to have skin in the game.
Sure.
The optics of subsidizing, it doesn't go over very well. You've got your port to run. Every other port has their board of commissioners. And as soon as they see that, they're like, what's going on? So I think that that's important. And I want to sort of circle back to, Mr. Chairman, your question about the project being one or two. The issue was that if it had been broken up into two separate projects, there would have been no guarantee that both of those projects independently would have scored as high as the totality of the one. So it could have been that you either didn't get any money at all, or it could have been there was only funding for half of the project and the other money that was associated with the second part would have gone to another port and another project. So just wanted to make that clear.
Okay.
It's not a zero-sum game. There's some nuances in that.
And to kind of follow up a little bit more, there is an opportunity at the time when the Port Authority Advisory Committee is discussing project selection to advocate to say, due to being in an economically disadvantaged community, the request is that y'all would get more money and not be required to do the full 25% match that the PAC kind of asks for. We've been successful in, I think, like 2 different ports having that request. And so their match was quite a bit smaller than everybody else's. So that's something for maybe future projects, but it has to be done at the time when the PAC is selecting the project and before it goes to our commission.
And what you can do also is you can take credit for projects that you've already done. So if it adds to a project already done, or it's the same line of business, then there's a conversation to be had about the importance of taking it to the next.
So what you're saying is that if we meet the threshold, if, let's say, you've got 90 days to hit this window of opportunity or to build. That's a plus for us as in regards to because I dealt with another grant and we met those dates. And so we got allotted about $2 more million because we were meeting that threshold.
Sure. So these aren't, again, like Chris said, they're not technically grants, they're reimbursements. And I know that TxDOT does on highway projects, if they're finished ahead of schedule, there's incentives to go along with that. This particular program is not designed like this. This is basically, you show us what your project is, it gets evaluated. If it scores, then you qualify for the amount that was requested.
Oh, okay.
There's also, I've also, so being somebody who's been in the space of working on federal grants for TxDOT with local governments, sometimes there was opportunity to utilize unused funds to add to the projects. We just don't have that.
True.
So y'all can't give us any more money? We could sure use it.
All we have.
Which is zero.
Just a small comment, and I know the queuing yard and then the bulk and all of that. And I don't remember seeing, maybe I missed it, a signage that says, another project by TxDOT, blah, blah, blah. So do you have anything to that effect that shows the contribution, the great contribution you guys are doing for our community?
So we don't install anything like that. I do, I think Port of Victoria, I think, has installed signs like that around their project, but that's, I think the port funded that, or maybe the county funded that. But we are not able to.
And I ask that for 2 reasons. Number one, to give you all a thank you for your support and just give you that. But the other one, so that the people can say, oh, it's their money, not navigation district money being spent in terms of that, because I think that's important to give you all that credit for those expenditures and everything. Yet we do incur some, but it's minimal compared to what it would have cost if we did.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you.
Does y'all's program have any timeline requirement after all of this money is spent?
First meeting.
Do you have a
Not a
timeline? Do they have to have a customer there? If they don't get a customer, do y'all get the money back?
Not a public hearing.
It just sits there.
The investment is made in the infrastructure and.
Point of order.
Think from TxDOT perspective, again, we have all these folks that grade these projects. We take the projects at face value. Now we've had projects in bigger ports like Houston where they said XYZ coming and that didn't happen. but then they turned around and found something else. So it's more about making the investment in the infrastructure so that the ports continue to
Yeah.
grow.
Good question.
We don't ask for the money back.
I understand, but it's.
Thank you. All right. Discussion and action on 2025-2026 tax rates as prepared by Willacy County Tax Office.
This is our annual tax review.
Yeah.
This year is incredibly different than what typically we have encountered. Since I've been here, we were at 0.85 for 10 years. Last year we went to 0.83 because there's a new proposal that comes through. It's called no new revenues. So our rate dropped from 0.85 to 0.83 last year. And what that basically does is when the county assesses value to all the properties in the county, and then it's assigned to us how much of it, how many of those properties we're entitled to have taxation on, it had gone up a minimal amount. Well, this year, the tax value for Willacy County went from 791,207,000 up to 962 million. So we're talking right at $2 million, just under $2 million increase in value. So if we decide to go with a no new revenue category, they're suggesting that we should cut our tax rate to 0.68. Or we have the opportunity to keep our tax rate where it is at 0.83. And so basically the question this year is, do we want to continue with 0.83? That'll probably bring us in another $100,000 or so in tax revenues. Or do we go with the no new revenues category and drop it to 0.68?
Ron,
Yes, sir.
that was $200 million increase.
Oh, yeah, 200 million.
Okay, so obviously Willacy County growing like crazy.
Apparently so.
That's not 200 million in Fort Mansfield.
Oh, no, that's just countywide.
We don't even know what it is in Fort Mansfield.
Right. Well, we can look through the PUD's thing, and they're pretty close because they only tax.
Yeah, but this is all.
This is for the whole county. It's a $200 million.
Is what we need to be going off of. I understand that, but that's old numbers now that you have this.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Now
Can
also,
we get that number
For PUD?
based on this $900 million?
Wait, Mr. Kirby?
yeah, also, in that 2 million, to that increase, and we said that's countywide.
Well.
But what
in
about,
our district.
what about the jurisdiction of Willacy County Navigation District?
This is
What was that increase?
Have a
Right?
hard time
So
figuring that.
I'm sorry, this is only the Willacy County Navigation jurisdiction.
No, got to be $900 million.
That's, sounds too high.
The whole navigation district.
All the way from 490 to the end of the county and back.
Yeah, that's correct.
Basically the entire county.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least the jurisdiction of Willacy County Navigation District. Is that correct, Ron?
Yes, that's correct. The number in front of you is the number for the navigation districts.
What's the PUD though?
I'm not going with the word. Give me, I gotta find.
Okay. And another number that I would be interested in seeing is out of the Port Mansfield area, what was the increase in value? Because I know, wasn't it last year, the year before that we lost value?
Yes.
Yeah.
They changed the price. That's how you do that. You don't gain $200 million in one year in Willacy County, trust me.
No.
So just let us know, Ryan, whenever you run across that number.
Okay.
I had that number. I don't remember what it is.
I've got it, but it's based on 791 million, not 900
So,
million. So it should change.
The PUD, just the Port Mansfield taxes went up $3 million.
What's the total?
The total for last year was 85,711, and the total for this year is 88,552.
88,552,000.
And that is exclusively just the the Port Mansfield areas.
I think the year before last, it was 83.
How much was it?
It went from 85,701
To 88,
711 to 88,552 mil.
that's correct. That
An
is just-
increase of about 3 mil.
Also, if we attach, do the new tax rate at 0.68 based upon the new dollar values, they say we would lose about $2,000 in our taxing revenue.
I repeat that again, I'm
If
sorry.
we go to 0.68, which is their NNR, their no new revenues line, we would lose about $2,011 in projected revenues.
Based on the no new revenue. If the board was to elect to go to 0.06, whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
then next year we decide, no, we need something else.
The problem is you can only increase by 4% a year.
There you go.
So it'll be 25 years
Give it
before you
up.
get back where you are now.
Take a long time to get it back.
About 20 plus years.
And right now, we're at the 0.8.
Where we're at.
183,
When
And we have always been there.
Let's
23.
also make sure
We're at
that
183?
83.
We're at 083 or 85?
083, we were at 085, we dropped to 083 last year.
Mhm.
Oh, so we're at 083.
Mhm.
Actually, it's 08, point,
Well, it goes.
08444,
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, but for her purposes, it's 083, and the NNR is 068.
Okay.
But we are authorized to stay at 083 because we've been there and it's already been enacted.
So it is safe to say that if we stay at 083, we dodge that bullet of having to wait 4 years to change it.
Oh, more.
Is that correct?
Well, actually, every year, but you can only go up 4%.
I mean,
Year.
4%, sorry.
4% again.
on 8 cents is not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot.
No, it goes up in fractions of a penny.
Right, right.
So it'll be many, many years before you get back to 8.
83.
I'll make the motion, we stay where we're currently at. We've been there for a number of years.
I'll second that
No
motion.
increase.
I'll second that motion.
So we'll stay another year of no increase,
All right,
no decrease.
motion made by Commissioner Kendrick, seconded by Commissioner Trevino. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed, motion carried. All right, discussion and action on proposal to enroll employees in Willis County medical insurance plan versus a third-party insurer. This is something that's brought up by Lefty, which
Yeah,
is
it
a
was.
great idea.
Fantastic. I'll stand over this, this give me a little bit longer. Currently, or hell, forever, as far as I know, this organization has always gone through third-party insurers, for our employees' insurance. Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, whatever happens to be, whoever's the lowest bidder, and we constantly are changing. 2 years ago, we had a bad year where we had 3 or 4 of our employees ended up hospitalized. So our rates went from hanging around $580 to $911 this year. So $911.88 a month for our employees. So I was like, man, this is eating us alive. But Lefty came up with the idea of checking with the county because the housing district had gone on board with the county. So I went over with Lefty and had a talk with the county judge, and they were openly willing to let us come on board. So the rate per month for an employee with the county on the county insurance, because the county is self-insured, is $650 a month. And we have 13 employees who are full-time enrolled on this program out of our 21. The rest either have other family members they're insured with, or somebody like myself from Virginia, we're insured elsewhere. So we have 13 employees. That's a $261.88 a month reduction, which basically means it's just under $41,000 a year savings for us to switch to the county insurance plan. We have a couple of employees who may not qualify for the county plan per se. because they are self-insured, so they're very restrictive on who they let in. We have like 3 or 4 people that may not qualify, but the county will provide them full benefit insurance for the same amount of money to us. So for $650 a month per person, the county provides them basically the same insurance we have now that we're paying $911. So,
Why would someone not qualify for this?
out of control diabetes and things of that.
Pre-existing condition.
Yeah, because the self-insured, you can do.
Who doesn't have that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but we have about 3 or 4 that we believe will probably not be qualified.
Mental though.
Yeah. So,
I've been,
so my recommendation, strongly recommend that we move up to using the county's insurance and they will go and enroll our employees immediately.
Absolutely. I so move.
second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Trevino, second by Commissioner Cavazos. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and action on the creation of a pre-marketing or PR marketing committee to provide input and priorities for border affairs programs.
I had a meeting with MPC and Border Affairs. Came to terms on how things are gonna work to make everything, keep all of our emails and our websites and everything up and running efficiently. And as part of that, Border Affairs asked for commissioner feedback for what they should post and how they should post it. And so I made the recommendation initially that they reach out to a couple of the commissioners. I initially said Mr. Trevino and Mr. Cavazos as the 2 points of contact. And I'd have to give a legal on whether they can have more members to a committee than that. But for people that they could contact, and so my recommendation is that we have form a committee for them to communicate with. That would be Mr. Trevino, Mr. Cavazos, or Mr. Trevino, Ms. Reyes. Can commissioners be more than 2?
Just to keep it to
That's what,
2.
okay, that's fine. So one or the other, I would make that recommendation.
I'll share some thoughts about that. School districts, I know being in the school board, we were in committees and that worked very efficiently. Because then you have 2 members meeting with these individuals, and these 2 members' responsibility is to get feedback from the other commissioners to get ideas and content, especially with public relations. I think it is a very efficient way of working, and I highly recommend, not only for this, but for other committees as well. Whether it's a finance committee, whether it's any other, because it's just an efficient, productive way of doing business.
Yeah.
I interpret that as you raising your hand.
Yeah.
I raise my hand as well. I'm interested in
Well,
being pushed
I
on.
think it would be nice if they had somebody actually from Port, so what's going on in Port. Y'all gonna have to come down there and see what's going on.
I don't mind going down. I love going to port. Yeah.
And I know they've been visiting with people out at the port. And again,
They can contact me or Steven, even though we're not on the committee.
exactly. And that's the idea, is not to work in isolation, but rather to get things moving. And the way I know I've worked in other committees and other boards is when ideas come out or we're scheduled to have a meeting, then I may have a conversation, for example, with you or Eric, what's, this, and I get your feedback. So I take it into the committee meeting.
Yeah, we need
So
to do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Does that require a motion, Ron? I
Yes,
make
it
a
would.
motion that Commissioner Trevino lead this committee to respond to border affairs.
And Ms. Reyes is a committee.
Yeah, second commissioner. Either Stacy or Lefty
Oh,
one.
I second, but that's including myself in this committee, right?
It's okay, you're just calling for.
Okay.
Yes. I
Right.
second.
Motion made by Commissioner Kendrick, seconded by Commissioner Reyes. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Just a question, is either one of those companies represented today?
Border Affairs I saw him a minute ago. He's here somewhere. He probably sitting.
He's got his
outside.
report to do.
Here, at Border Affairs.
Are they gonna give their monthly update?
That's why they.
All right, next item on the agenda is presentation by Border Affairs of performance report and action items.
Thank you so much. Thank you. A lot of activity this past month. Thank you, Ron, for setting up that meeting with NPC. We had a very good meeting with them. Aside from that, lengthy meeting, we discussed with Ron the metrics and the mechanics of the transition process. They're more than willing to work with us. That's before we mind working with them and love to work with them. Since then, we have had multiple communications with them in creating the exact mechanics of how the transition is going to change from one thing to the net to what our work is going to be produced. For that reason, we also got ahead and we started to design the new web pages for the website, the ones that we feel are going to carry the spirit and the aura that we talked about, the progressive nature of some of the things that you're doing here. Started with that design process. We're going to bring that to you afterwards, but we do need some input. We do need some content, and that's why the committee was formed. Thank you for going in that direction. So once we have that in play, now that we can show you exactly what we've been thinking about, and you guys can give us your impression of that, and we can go take it from there. Aside from that, we also established a standing meeting with Mr. Ron Mills every month, post after this meeting, and go back and meet with him so that we can go over some of the things that are happening here in detail and in particular, so that we can dissect those particulars and see how we can use them to fully showcase some of the things that are going here. We also did the same thing with we talked to prospective committee members, and now that we also need a standing meeting from them as well, so that we can meet with them. And we also need a standing meeting with NPCs to make sure that those technical details are in play, and they've also agreed to do. So aside from those things, we also put together started a new design for the new campaign, and we'll be bringing back to the committee so that we can have their input. 7 logos now, and with some ideas, some again, the spirit of progressive nature that is happening here, and some that is not happening here. So we can use that to that use. I think that's about it.
Mr. Garza, could you on scheduling these meetings? I know we're playing catch up here because of what has transpired, but I'm open and willing. I know it could be a Zoom meeting, it could be a face-to-face, or a combination of both. So at your earliest convenience, please shoot out some possible dates and times.
And it's Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay.
Said you were developing new pages for your website. Is it going to be under the Fort Mansfield website?
It's going to be one, sir.
Is it going to be under the Fort Mansfield?
Yes.
Website?
Yes. What we're doing is we're supplementing what you are.
Yeah, you're just adding some pages to our current.
That is
website.
correct. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Port Director's report.
The only thing I have on there is the fact that we did finally, after God knows how many tries, finalize the line of credit with the bank that we probably should have developed 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm thinking it was issued 1.5. The same day I wrote a check for 1.9 to cover 2 outstanding invoices for Russell Marine, brought them current at that time. So we took 400,000 out of operating funds, general operating funds, to add to the line of credit. Once that's reimbursed, I suspect that's about 2.5 to 3 weeks away. Once that's reimbursed, the next payment will be about $1 million. So we'll actually pay back toward the line of credit, put money back on it, plus pay ourselves back all the operating funds we took out. And within 30 days after that, we should be caught up. So we should only be writing a check for whatever the current invoice is. The current invoice, typically, from what I'm seeing, is going to probably be somewhere in the $550,000. So if a $1.5 million line of credit, we should only have, hopefully, about $500,000 to $600,000 out at any given time. I will, by next meeting, I haven't got the paperwork from the bank yet as far as hard copies of it. So otherwise, I'd have provided to you today. But by the next meeting, I'll give you the actual percentages and all that stuff for them.
Ron, and again, following up on the comments from TxDOT Marine, on the reimbursements, I want to make sure that we double check those things and avoid any rejections from our invoicing.
Yes.
Who would be responsible for doing that?
Typically, the way it works is Russell Marine submits, well, you saw that big 767-page invoice there the other day. That goes to CSRS. CSRS has a young lady that's her sole purpose in life is to review those invoices as they come in. And in this case that they were referring to, there were 2 inventory sheets for the same date. They had missed the date, so it was instead of like the 24th and 25th, it was the 24th and the 24th. And so it threw the inventory off. And so they rejected it, kicked it back because there was a disparity in material on hand. If it would have just been a date error, that was fine. But the fact that the form showed a different amount, but the date remained the same, that was what kicked it back.
We've had them kicked back for really silly stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have an agreement with them now. That basically if it's immaterial, such if it's only a date, just because the date was wrong, they will continue the process and continue the payment. But because in this case, there was a material difference based upon that, they kicked it back.
Okay.
And so it put us 5 more days behind, but it's in the process of, it's already in finance to be paid. So.
And this is what concerns me. I mean, money's tight.
Oh, absolutely.
District or myself or anybody else. We don't throw our money away. But we hired this firm, right? CR.
CSRS, yeah.
And they're supposed to be overlooking all of this detail before it's submitted. And then it gets kicked back. Okay, so here we are. We're on a line of credit. We're paying interest daily interest on it. And they get it kicked back because somebody else that we're also paying money to didn't do their job right.
Yep.
So what I would tell CSRS, look, we're fine. Y'all are great people. If it gets kicked back for another clerical error, you're gonna pay the daily interest on what we have out.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
That's a good point.
And that's where I was going with this because we need to have the checks and balances to
Certainly.
make sure that there's no delays
Correct.
Make them responsible.
and make them responsible.
And they
Because
have.
once it hits their pocket,
Right.
they're gonna
Oh,
look.
and that's a great idea. The one thing that I had done is before they were taking 7 to 10 days, once I reviewed it and said, here, go ahead and make the payment to get it out. And they were also taking that long to review it, which I can understand a 767-page invoice taking 10 days to review it. I get that. Or taking multiple days to get it. But we've now compressed that down to where they promise to have it out of there to me for payment within 5 days. And if I send it back, they'll have it posted the same day. Because there's no reason to make any modifications after I've already signed it. And so, so we've definitely taken their process that was taken up to 2 weeks and compressed it down to 5 days, 6 days.
Okay.
So now if we did this idea, that's a very good idea about.
Okay.
Yeah, put them on the spot.
And let's also make sure we get all of these invoices from Russell on the AP aging report. The reason I'm persistent about that is this, it shows how long it takes the state to get its money back.
You're exactly right.
So the day you get them, they need to be posted.
Yeah, I'll give them to her. Yeah.
And then if it's 90 days out before we pay them, well, guess what? It tells us we didn't get our money until 90 days.
That's correct. That's right.
Aging report, yeah.
That's all.
Anybody else got questions? All right, review and discussion on building authorizations issued for the month of August. Quite a few. Yeah. And then we'll need a motion to accept.
No, that, on the building, no.
Yeah.
The other one.
This one.
Oh, residential,
Yeah.
sorry. I review and consideration of residential commercial transfers, leases, both stall leases, transfer to collateral, transfer of lease. We'll need a motion for that.
You checked all of this. I made a motion.
Okay, a quick question before,
Yeah.
on that, so this property that somebody was interested in purchasing, it's not in here, correct?
Not just correct, because I haven't finished with our details with them yet. Once
Okay.
they get better prepared, I'll present it to you.
Okay.
It'll be presented to you as a separate item. It won't be in there.
I
Are
wanted
there
to,
any,
Not-
are there any
Almost
special
close.
provisions? or
exactly,
So that I can, I don't know. I don't.
okay.
Not even close. All right, motion made by Commissioner Cavazos,
A second.
second by Commissioner Reyes, all in favor,
Right.
opposed, motion carried. Review and consideration of checks and vouchers, and any discussion or comments on the monthly budget report.
Ron, on the police department had a miscellaneous revenue of a little over $5,000. I'm just curious how the police department would generate that kind of
Sell a
money.
lot of golf cart permits.
That's where, I guarantee you that. Seriously, they're bringing in anywhere from 8 to 12 a day, $35 a piece. I don't know how many total he brought in recently, but I know he brought in. And additional to that, I'll have that. I can't think of it, all right, but I swear,
I'm assuming our miscellaneous is BTS.
that's correct.
Now you're on professional fees for this year, we've already got 100,000.
That is correct, but they're going to submit that for reimbursement, so we should get that.
Is that the CSRS?
Is-
We paid them 100,000 so they could kick our damn invoices back.
Yeah. Well, maybe that should be a line item instead of miscellaneous.
Well,
I
it's
think-
just under professional fees, but yeah. If we just list all the lawyers and all the, not the lawyers, all the engineers are listed under professional fee. But in our personnel meeting, I intend to talk about engineers as part of that discussion. anyway.
Bring up about the meeting, changing the meeting.
Are you talking about for October?
Yeah.
I checked with the council. I think we should do it, yes. That's
Still on for, 16,
The 16th, right?
mighty on for the 6.
Yes.
Yeah,
16.
yeah, that's the personnel meeting, personal meeting.
I was wanting to move next month's meeting a week. If that's fits y'all's schedule.
On October,
Yes, sir.
from to the 15th?
Yeah, that would put us having a meeting 2 days in a row. That's the only downside to
No,
that.
no, one's October, September the 16th, and then,
Yeah.
October meeting.
yes, October the 5th.
I'm okay with that.
There's a check here for Stephen Kendrick. Is that you?
Yeah.
Is that?
He
T-shirt,
got some
right?
stuff for the youth hunt, some t-shirts.
Okay.
T-shirts.
I was hoping somebody's gonna ask that question so you could show that. but-
Backside.
Yeah.
If y'all don't have a problem with that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that.
Is she all right with that? Moving the October meeting a week?
The 15th.
To the 15th?
The 15th,
Yeah.
16th.
No, that's September 16th. We have a special
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
September.
We're talking about the regular meeting.
It'll be October 15th.
Yes. Whatever that Wednesday is.
The two, because we had a PD meeting and a navigation meeting back to back because of the way the calendar fell, so. Gives us a week between the meetings. so.
So we got that. We got the check from TxDOT. $1.5 or whatever. Well, you paid $1.9 million. You said you took 400 out of
That's correct.
M&O or
Yes,
whatever.
yes, that's correct.
So that would leave $1.5 million roughly.
We got 1.5 from the bank. We added 400 to it from our operating money.
Okay, paid
So 1.9, we paid off both, invoice 3 and 4 from Russell Marine.
Okay.
So that's not got our money. We got that money. That money from the previous $700,000, right? It wasn't $1 million. Invoice 1 and 2 was like 700,000.
Okay.
Now, invoice 5 and 6 are gonna be about just under $1 million combined. And so with that, but that'll be paid once we get back to 1.9 million from the state.
Okay, got you. But seemed like when I was looking at this the other night, and they had sent going back to last month's balance sheet compared to this month's balance sheet under this, I know that 400,000 was taken from multiple accounts. So if you look at the SCB improvement fund, it's generated back up. It looks like plus, I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah, we got.
So tells me that y'all reimbursed each one of those funds,
Correct.
right?
And then she went back days later,
So how did we reimburse those funds?
From where?
from the $700,000 check we got
From
back.
the first,
First reimbursement, yeah.
Okay.
We paid ourselves back what we were owed. All that 700 went to all different accounts and filled them back up. And then we didn't write any more checks until we got the bank line.
so we utilize STB and M and O basically. Okay, go to play.
Need a motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept finances.
Motion made by Commissioner Kendrick,
Second.
by Commissioner Trevino. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. We're adjourned.